Hey, and welcome to MiM Monday. I'm your host, Nick Lazaga. This is Mickey in Minutes Live. It's time to make Monday magical. Welcome in, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. If you're joining live right now, you can chime in the chat at any time. This, of course, is a conversation, right? I want to talk to you guys about the latest Disney news. And if you're watching this as a playback on YouTube or on Instagram, then, leave comments down below with your thoughts on these news stories. And be sure to join next Monday at 8 p.m. Central Time, or any Monday for that matter, as we do Mickey in Minutes Live. So, hey, what's going on, Tony? Welcome in. I see you in there. Oh, wait. I'm using there we go. I'm using my new DJI camera or phone thing, stabilizer. And so I'm trying to hit the button and not knock it over. Just getting used to using that new equipment. I'm really excited to use it to film things on my Disneyland trip. And so yeah, this is the Disneyland 70th episode. I'm joined here by Pluto. This Pluto is from Disneyland 50th. You see that? He has the Disneyland 50 logo here. Yeah, he's hanging out because we're talking about Disneyland's anniversary today. So he'll be here, well, until he gets in the way. So I don't know how to stand him back up. All right, he's gone. Say bye. Bye, Pluto. But anyways, good to see you, says Tony in the chat. Anything new with Hollywood Studios? Hollywood Studios, I think, is pretty chill right now. We are going to talk about Jollywood Nights in just a little while, so stay tuned for that. But we're going to start off talking today about Disneyland. Hey, what's going on? 3 Wishes Designed. Welcome into the chat. Today, we're going to talk about Disneyland 70th because that's coming up, guys. That's on Thursday. Hey, welcome in. More people joining. Thank you so much for joining. Let's talk about Disneyland 70th. Thursday, July 17th, that is Disneyland's 70th anniversary. So, of course, I got my Disneyland 70 hat on, got my Disneyland Spirit jersey, and I'm going to Disneyland in 16 days. Well, 15 days. 16 days I'll be in the parks. And so I'm already ready with my Disneyland 70th Magic Band. Look how awesome this is. I'm ready to go, guys. I mean, I'm leaving in 15 days, but I feel like I'm already ready, emotionally, not physically. I haven't packed anything yet. Hey, what's going on? Luli in the parks. Thanks so much for joining. And Renee Lynn Creates. Thank you for joining as well. So yeah, I'm ready. Not physically. I haven't packed anything yet, but emotionally, I'm ready, especially seeing the big news that came out today. Hey, what's going on? A Fandom Life for Me. Thanks so much for joining. Let me send you that wave. Thrilled to hear about my Disneyland experience. Yes, I'll be sure to share all about that. Disney Dudes, thanks for joining, guys. How's it going? So yeah, let's get right into it. I'm so happy so many of you are hanging out today. So big news today. Obviously, we got a sneak preview of the Walt Disney animatronic over in Disneyland. So this is going to officially debut on July 17th, the official birthday of Disneyland 70th. But we got a sneak preview. I believe there's a media event going on right now in Disneyland, and they got to see it first. And so let's talk about this. The Walt Disney animatronic is going to be part of Walt Disney A Magical Life, which is going to be in the Main Street Opera House. For the time being, it's going to be replacing Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. And eventually, those two shows are going to alternate. That's why the sign says both. But this animatronic, have you guys seen this animatronic on Instagram or really anywhere? It's everywhere right now. Give me a thumb up or a thumb down in the chat if you like the way the animatronic looks. Do you think it looks good? Do you think it looks bad? So I was looking at this, and I'm trying not to spoil too much. I almost cried looking at the reel. It says Fandom Life for me. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I'm trying not to spoil too much because, I'm going to be there soon. But I saw that reel that Disney Parks blog or Disney Parks Instagram posted, and yeah, I didn't expect them to show the animatronic in the reel. So when it came up, it took me a second to register what I was looking at. At first, it looked like a doll or something. Then I realized, oh my goodness, this is the animatronic. This looks crazy. So I watched it like a million times, right? I'm seeing some thumbs up in the chat. I'm seeing one. What is that? Oh, a face with a zipper. You don't like it? No comment. Hey, what's going on? And Channel Alexis, thank you for joining. And so I saw this, and my initial reaction was like, oh, is that the animatronic? And the more I look at it, the more I like it. But I'm trying not to watch a lot of video of it. On Disney Parks blog, they posted an article about it, and they said they were trying to capture the twinkle in his eye, his expressive hands, and his expressive elbows. Which I've never heard anybody describe elbows as expressive. But I guess he did kind of stand like this a lot, right? And but yeah, apparently Walt has expressive elbows. And so they're trying to give it the most lifelike performance, is what Disney Parks blog says. And his set, he's in a recreation of his office over at the studio, and it looks really cool. Like I like the way the studio looks. I mean, I've never been in the studio, but it looks really good. Let's see. My first watch through, I wasn't a fan of it, but the more I watched, the more I liked it. Says a fan in life. For me, I feel the exact same way. That's exactly where I was. Hey, Nate Wright, Realtor, thanks for joining. So yeah, the more I watched it, the more I liked it as well. I do notice like he has some of like his hand positioning that looks like videos that we've seen. So I really like that. It says, the Disney Parks blog says that he's going to be sharing a few stories and thoughts on his career and philosophy, and everything is going to be taken from real recordings spanning decades. So it's not just like one interview that they're putting animation to. It's a bunch of them that they're blending together to what they're calling a great moments performance, which is, the same thing that they did with Abraham Lincoln. Of course, that was a voice actor with Abraham Lincoln, but they called it great moments because it was pieces from different speeches. And that's basically what they're doing with Walt. And it seems like they had a lot of good material to work with, and I'm just really excited to hear what they chose. I'm sure it's going to be like, some of the standard ones that we know, like there should be something built, right? Or it all started with a mouse, that kind of stuff. Let's see. I never thought I would see a Walt animatronic, says Tony. Yeah, I agree. And I feel like, whoops, I'm trying to hit the wave button. Hey, what's going on? Cynthia's pixie dust. But yeah, I think a lot of people never thought we'd see it, and I'm sure that a lot of people from Walt's family never thought we'd see it as well, but here it is. And, if you're just joining in the chat, give me a thumb up if you like the Walt animatronic. But, I don't know. I keep watching it, and I keep looking at pictures, and there's some pictures where I really like it, and then there's some pictures where I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. I saw... I've seen some people online, criticizing it, saying it looks like, a Temu, Walt Disney, a bunch of stuff like that. But then I've also seen a bunch of people saying the opposite, saying that it looks great, it looks beautiful. I don't think we're really going to be able to truly judge it until we see it in person. So 16 days for me, I'll see it in person. Some people think the voice is AI. It's not. It's actual recording, so that's really cool. Let's see, Tony's in the chat saying it took a while for Disney to develop the Walt animatronic. They wanted to capture his character. Yes, they did. Like they said, the twinkle in his eye. And they keep saying that over and over again. Twinkle in his eye, twinkle in his eye. And, that's like an expression, but I wonder if they're actually doing like some sort of twinkle. I mean, like a lighting effect, maybe? Yeah, I'll have a lot more to say when I see it in person as well. So the other thing that's interesting about this is... So the whole show, the whole Magical Life show is not all animatronics. That's only going to be the very, very end of the show. Hey, Cyber Salamander, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining the show. We're talking about the Walt Disney animatronic. So the whole show is not going to be just the animatronic. It's going to be before the animatronic. There's going to be a video presentation of One Man's Dream. Now, this video's been around for like over 20 years, right? You can see it right now in Hollywood Studios and at One Man's Dream. And it was in California Adventure in the Animation Building from 2001 to 2005. but they've updated the video apparently. When the video first came out, it was narrated by Michael Eisner. Then he left the company, and they got Julie Andrews to narrate it, which is the version that's at Hollywood Studios. But for this updated version, they now have Bob Iger. Bob Iger is narrating that. Yeah, I know that Bob Iger is very polarizing in the Disney community. You know, some people love him, some people hate him. So what do you guys think about Bob Iger narrating One Man's Dream? I think it's fitting. I think it's fine. I mean, he's the CEO of the company. He's been there for a very long time. I mean, at least they didn't redo it with Bob Chapek, right? Right? That wouldn't have been good. But you know, I'm fine with it. I mean, they could have gone a different direction and got somebody with like a really, you know, great voice. You know, like the first person that comes to my brain is like Josh Gad, you know, who obviously is Olaf. Spoiler alert for Snow White, but he was a narrator in Snow White. That's kind of a spoiler, I guess. No one's gonna see that movie. If you haven't seen it by now, you're probably not gonna see it. Don't see it. It's not very good. But anyways, do you imagine if Josh Gad narrated it? It's funny when they were talking about doing the whole redo of Spaceship Earth and redoing the narration to be about the history of storytelling. Like what Josh Gad was one of the names that popped into my brain as a narrator. Of course, that project has been put on hold. It will be going down, Spaceship Earth, pretty soon, but it's not for that. But anyways, so let's get back to Disneyland. So the animatronic show and the updated One Man's Dream is not the only thing that we get to see. There's also going to be a whole like beautiful museum exhibit. If you guys have ever been to the Main Street Opera House when it was Great Mr. Lincoln, they've had like rotating exhibits. I remember seeing like a Haunted Mansion exhibit one time, and I was there during Disneyland 60th, the Diamond Celebration, and there was a 60th exhibit there. Hey, what's going on? No, it's Queen Diva 7. Thank you for joining. So now they have this new exhibit for Disneyland 70th, and there's different sections of the exhibit that we can talk about that's really interesting. And so the first one is called The Evolution of a Dream. In the front section of the lobby, they're going to be showcasing Disneyland's design, the evolution of Disneyland from design to concept, you know, to now. And they're going to be showing all these cool like maps and sketches and images. Like if you look at the Disney Parks blog article, they have tons of maps on display. I love maps. You can't see off camera over here. I have a Disneyland map from like, what is that? 55, I think, is my map. And yeah, so this big display of maps. Like I'm just gonna have fun walking through and looking at all these maps. And then of course all this like great cool like concept art and paintings and stuff. There's going to be an exhibit called Mickey Ears Through the Years, a small exhibit, the evolution of Mickey ears, which I have on the wall. Those Mickey ear hats you can see kind of by my microphone in the shot. Those were actually hats that I wore on my first trip with my wife. That's the trip that I proposed to her on, everything. So those are up there. She made those actually. But yeah, the evolution of Mickey ears. And that's going to be really cool. I have these other Mickey ears back. I think it was, I don't remember when they released these, but they were Brett Iwan designed ears. I could show them to you at some point, but they're really cool. They, let me just grab them really quick so I can show you because they're really cool. These are my favorite ears that I have. So these were designed by Brett Iwan, and I like them because they say on air, and you know, I'm a podcaster, so they're really cool. And they're out of battery, but they have like some Mickey quotes that were recorded by Brett. If you don't know, Brett Iwan, he's the voice of Mickey. And it's on the back. See? Brett Iwan's the voice of Mickey Mouse. And he's a big inspiration to me since, you know, I mean, I don't do voiceover work, but as a podcaster, everything I do is talking. So, and I actually had the privilege of meeting Brett Iwan a few years ago over at a Comic-Con. And just the coolest dude. When I met him, I was like, I told him one of my favorite things that you've ever recorded was in the People Mover in Magic Kingdom when you're going by Mickey Star Trader, which is now just called Star Traders, where Mickey goes, "It's out of this world." And I mentioned that to him, that I really love that line, and then he did the line for me, and it was just, it was so cool. So yeah, Brett Iwan. But anyway, so one of the exhibits is going to be a history of Mickey ears exhibit. Let me put these down really quick. But anyways, so that's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Other exhibits, there's going to be an exhibit on Disney watches. So that's cool. I have a Disney watch that my father gave me that used to be his. I don't really wear it because it's really nice, but I'm looking forward to seeing that display of the history of Disney watches. Hey, what's going on? Several people join in the chat. What's going on, guys? Yeah. So hold on, let me find my place in my notes. What do you guys think of these displays that are going to be there? The Disney history and the ears and stuff. Very, very cool. So another one is going to be artifacts on display from the Walt Disney Family Museum. Walt Disney Family Museum, if you don't know, is in San Francisco. Let's see in the chat. A Cinderella watch from the 60s. Ooh, cool. That's nice. I'm sure that might be worth something. So the Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco is a museum dedicated to the life of the person Walt Disney, right? Not so much the company or the parks, but really him, Walt the man. And I think, this whole thing with the animatronic and everything is celebrating Walt Disney the man. And so to have a bunch of artifacts on display from the Walt Disney Family Museum is just so cool. So there's going to be over 30 artifacts on display from the museum. Some of these that have never been publicly exhibited in Disneyland, exclusively to the museum. And so there's going to be an area that's dedicated to Walt's private apartment, that apartment above the fire station, which, every Disney fan knows that. You walk in, you see the lamp in the window of the fire station, and it's always on to represent that, Walt is always present, this and that. But very few people, in the grand scheme of things, have really been up there. And I've never been up there. I've always wanted to go up there. I think you go up there for some of those tours. But they're gonna have some furniture on display up there not up there. Some furniture on display in this museum area in the Main Street Opera House, and like his some chairs and a lamp and stuff. There's also going to be some awards that Walt has received over the years. So his 1955 Emmy Award from the Walt Disney Disneyland TV show, which I'm a sucker for that. Seeing Uncle Walt on TV and stuff. I have back. I don't know if you guys remember when they would release the Disney Treasures DVDs, and they came in these like tins. Again, something else I have on display in my studio, but I'm not going to get that down right now. But I have the Walt Disney's Disneyland one and a few others. But I think it's so cool to see that Emmy on display here. I mean, that was where he got some of the funding from Disneyland, I believe, and it's just such a cool piece of history. His Presidential Medal of Freedom that was awarded to him by President Johnson in 1964, that's going to be on display. Walt Disney's commemorative medal presented to Lillian by President Nixon in 1969. So these are all going to be on display from the museum. So cool, guys. So cool. The Family Museum is like a bucket list item for me. I want to go visit it one day. So I gotta make time to go and visit that. Have you guys ever been to the Walt Disney Family Museum? I want to know. So another thing that's going to be here, I'm telling you guys, this little area, the lobby of the Opera House is going to be stacked. So another one is the history of audio animatronics. You had me at audio animatronics. Like most Disney Parks fans, we love audio animatronics. And there's just going to be some originals and some recreations of audio animatronics from over the years, from the inception of the technology, which of course started with Walt Disney and his Imagineers, up until some more present day stuff. Yo-ho Daddy-o, what's going on? Thanks for joining. Let's see, Renee says she wished she would have gone before you moved from California. Well, hop a plane, right? I'm over here in Texas, so I'm going to California for the Disneyland 70th in a couple weeks. I'm not going to go over to San Francisco, though, but one day I will. One day I absolutely will. But this animatronic display is going to be really, really cool. So there's going to be a doll from the original run of It's a Small World from the 1964 World's Fair. That alone is worth the cost of admission to just see something like that. I don't know about you guys, but I love the World's Fair. I'm a big fan of that. Hence the reason I like the movie Tomorrowland so much. If you haven't listened to the latest episode of the Mickey and Minutes podcast, I talk about the movie Tomorrowland a little bit, and I love that movie. Anyone else like that movie? So if you haven't seen that movie, it opens up with some World's Fair stuff, and it's very cool. But as a Disney fan, especially an audio animatronics fan, you got to really appreciate the World's Fair. That's where we got great moments with Mr. Lincoln, which of course was inspiration partially for the Magical Life Walt Disney animatronic. I was there. You were too. All right, so not me. I'm reading the comments. Renee says that she was there at the World's Fair when she was 2. That is awesome. Do you have pictures? Please post those on your Instagram. I would love to see if you have any pictures. That's very, very, very cool. I'm jealous. If I can go back in time, if I had a DeLorean and I can go back in time, the 64 World's Fair is one of the places I'd visit just to see these old school Disney stuff. Carousel of Progress, oh my gosh, it's there. All right, I'm gonna have to go scrolling through your Instagram at some point and check those out. If you want to find one of the pictures on your Instagram and just DM it to me so I could see it, that's awesome. Very cool. So, anyways, history of audio animatronics, lots of other stuff. It looks like some Pirates of the Caribbean figures are going to be there. Man, that's so cool. A black and white picture with Mickey. Oh, cool. That's awesome. Wow. Falling into the Magic is joining. Hey, welcome to MiM Monday. Thanks for chatting about Disneyland 70. So another thing that's going to be there, even more stuff, is a video presentation called Memories of Walt. And this is kind of like a pre-show video to the actual Magical Life show. And so this, I believe, is also put together by the Walt Disney Family Museum. And it's going to have interviews from people who knew Walt Disney and people who worked, I guess walked also, alongside Walt Disney. So, yeah, I have a feeling that I'm going to spend more than 1 hour in this area between seeing the show probably more than once if I can, and just spending time in this exhibit. So I know that when this opens, there's going to be virtual queue, which it's just funny in itself that you're going to need a virtual queue for the Main Street Opera House. But, everyone's going to want to see that Walt Disney animatronic. So, gotta do what you gotta do. I actually kind of like virtual queues because then you don't have to panic about it, right? Once you get it, of course you're panicking before when you're trying to get it. But, I like the idea of having the virtual queue. That way you're going to be almost guaranteed to see it unless, something happens and it breaks down or something. But, I'm just so excited. I'm so excited. So a lot of people have just joined the chat. We're talking about this Walt Disney Magical Life, the Walt animatronic. If you've seen it and you like it, drop a thumb up in the chat. Or if you don't like it, let me know. What do you think looks off about it? I was having this conversation with my wife earlier, and I'm saying, it looks cool. I think it's going to be really cool in person, and she's of the camp that's like, I don't know, it doesn't look very good. So if it doesn't look good to you, I want to know what about it seems off. What seems wrong about it, I guess. I want to know. But of course, there's more. There's more. So after the show, of course, the show is One Man's Dream, narrated by uh, not Bob Chapek, Bob Iger, and then the Walt Disney animatronic. And then after that, there's a post-show exhibit. So there's going to be a tribute to Disneyland, past, present, and future. And it's basically like a series of murals and photographs. So there's going to be a giant mural that pays tribute to Disneyland history. And I'm looking at a picture of it right now. You can see it on Disney Parks blog, and it's beautiful mural, shades of blue and purples, kind of like the colors of the 70th. And you have like Space Mountain and the castle, and looks like the rocket jets and the Little Mermaid, and just lots of beautiful mural. If they can just like shrink this down and make a print of it, I'd have it right up there, right behind me somewhere. There's also a tribute to Disneyland cast members, which I think is amazing because, as we all know, it's the cast members that make the magic. If you're a cast member watching this, thank you so much for all you do to make all the magic at Disneyland and all the Disney parks around the world. And I think it's great that they're doing a tribute to the cast members in here, because Disneyland wouldn't be at 70 years if it wasn't for the hard work of the amazing, amazing cast members. So that's going to be really cool. And then the exit gallery will culminate in a peek at the future of the Disneyland resort. So there's a section of it with like Mickey Mouse, Sorcerer Mickey, kind of doing magic. And then there's concept art pictures of a few of the things coming to the Disneyland resort in the future. And of course, above it, it has one of Walt's quotes that says, "Keep moving forward." And it has some concept art pictures of the Avatar stuff coming to DCA, the Coco ride coming to DCA. Looks like Star Wars, the Mandalorian feature that's going to be at Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run. It has some pictures of the new Avengers attractions and Avengers Campus update. A picture of the new Disneyland entryway, which we talked about this on a previous MiM Monday. It just looks incredible with that big walking bridge and the humongous classic Disneyland sign. Amazing. So yeah, and that's the exit. Then you walk out. So there's going to be so much to see, so much to take in. I spend a lot of time in One Man's Dream in Hollywood Studios whenever we go, because even though I've seen a lot of that stuff, it warms your heart as a Disney fan to be able to really see, the history and the love and the care that Disney has for its history and its product. So this is going to be the same thing for me. I feel like I'm going to spend a ton of time in here. Let's see. Renee in the chat says his face looks off. Maybe slimmer will help. Plus, he needs to be taller. So it's funny. You say slimmer. That's actually one of the first things that popped into my brain, too. When I first saw the animatronic. Of course, everything will look different looking at your phone. But I thought that he looked a little big as well in the neck and the face area. I don't know if there's a lot of hardware and stuff, these animatronics are. Needs to be taller, you said also. Yeah. I mean, it's all perspective. I'm curious how it's going to look in person. Hey, what's going on? A couple people joining in the chat. Thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging out. We're talking about the Walt Disney animatronic. What do you guys think of this? Have you seen the pictures of it? Let me know. Give me a thumb up if you like it. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's going to look better in person. That's what I keep going back to in my brain, is I think it's going to look better in person. I'm not going to say that it looks bad. I don't think it looks bad. I've also seen some pictures of people doing side-by-sides of the animatronic and a picture of Walt. But I think some people are doing it a disservice by showing a picture of Walt from a different era of his life, like a young Walt and an animatronic. This animatronic, I believe, is supposed to be in his 60s, later in his life. I'm trying not to watch too many videos, so I don't want to spoil it. But I've seen him kind of lean on the desk and then kind of stand up. So yeah, 20s and Tiaras is saying the movements. That she's impressed, and incredible. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard not to be impressed to see something like that. And one of the things I was telling my wife earlier as we were talking about this is we're comparing this to a person that actually lived, that we have a ton of reference video for. So, and we're Disney fans. We're going to be extremely nitpicky. I mean, we're nitpicky about everything as Disney fans, right? So we're going to be extremely nitpicky and protective of Walt Disney himself. And other animatronics we don't have really reference to. Like, I mean, Pirates and Pirates of the Caribbean, they're not necessarily modeled after anyone specific, so we'll think it looks good, And even like Abraham Lincoln, like, I mean, none of us were alive to see Abraham Lincoln in person. And, there's some pictures and stuff here and there, but a lot of it is kind of up to an exaggerated version of Abraham Lincoln that we all kind of collectively have in our brains. Like, he was really tall and the big hat and the beard, So an exaggerated version of Abraham Lincoln is what they gave to us. I was watching this really cool documentary about that, and they did exaggerate a lot of the features on Mr. Lincoln for that animatronic. They made him bigger, so like taller, larger than life almost. But they really can't do that with Walt Disney because we're going to be very nitpicky. So, and the other thing I told my wife when we were talking about this is, it's an animatronic. It's going to look like an animatronic of Walt Disney. It's not going to look like Walt Disney himself. It's going to look like an animatronic of Walt Disney. And I think that's exactly what it looks like, because that's what it is. So I don't know if that makes sense. That makes sense to you? So, anyways, I'm very, very excited to see it. We had this trip booked. If I had stuck to my original plan, I'd be in Disneyland right now. Or, no, a few days ago, I guess. But we moved it because we really wanted to make sure that we were there for this animatronic. And, I'm just really happy that I'm going to be there to see it in person. So, hey, what's going on? Dreamer Ears. What's going on? So, you have ears in the name of your handle. There's going to be a Mickey ear display in the Main Street Opera House in Disneyland, the history of Mickey ears. That's pretty cool. We were talking about that earlier. That's really cool. So, anyways, those are my thoughts on the animatronic. I think it looks cool. I think it's gonna look even better in person, and I think just getting that feeling of being in the room with Walt as much as we can is just gonna be really cool. And I have a feeling that myself, like many of my fellow Disney fans, we're gonna get emotional. It's gonna be emotional to see that. So I'm trying not to watch videos. I know it's gonna debut on Thursday. I'm not gonna watch the spoilers as much as I can. So, and then after my trip, I'll give you my full review, my idea of it. We'll do a trip report episode of MiM Monday and the podcast, and we'll chat about it after I've seen it. Are any of you guys going to go see it in person? Do you guys have plans to go to Disneyland and see this animatronic? Let me know. We need to hear in Disney World too. I was thinking about that. If they had if they added him to One Man's Dream, or I guess it's Walt Disney Presents now in Hollywood Studios, that'd be really cool. But then I started thinking, does it belong in Disney World? Or does he belong in Disney World? Disneyland is his park. It's the only park he really ever walked in. And that's his home. That's where, the spirit of Walt Disney is. I don't mean that in a creepy way, but I mean like the essence, the feeling, right? That Walt, the Waltness of it. It feels very Walt in that park. And I think that that's where it belongs, And I think that, every park needs its own identity, and I think they're doing that by ripping out the Rivers of America, R.I.P. I'm very sad about it, but kind of making Walt Disney World kind of a little bit more separate from Disneyland, and I think that one of the things of Disneyland's identity that makes it unique and special is Walt, and I think that's where it belongs. You're not wrong. Oh, thanks. So, I wouldn't argue if they wanted to put it there, but I think it's special and unique and cool to be exclusive to Disneyland. I wonder how it's going to be when they're rotating it with Great Moments. Like how many shows per day, or if it's going to be like seasonal for each one, or I wonder. Maybe it'll be like Beauty and the Beast and the France. What was it? Impressions de France in Epcot, where they just kind of rotate, throughout the day. So I don't know. But anyways, let's move on to Walt Disney World news, because there is still some Walt Disney World news for us to talk about. So, are there any runners in the chat? Do any of you guys do runDisney events? Because there was some runDisney news that came out. I used to think that I would want to do runDisney. I always thought it was cool, the idea of being able to run around the parks, early in the morning and, be in property. And, I used to run a lot, I used to be way more athletic. Well, let's not go too far. Not athletic, but a runner. But then, I started seeing how expensive it is, and I just never have, pulled the trigger to do a runDisney event. But, they announced the runDisney Wine and Dine Half Marathon and the medals. So if there are any runners in the house, let me know. Put a little running man emoji or something if you're a runner, if you're a runDisney person. But basically, October 23rd through 26th at Walt Disney World. That's a Wine and Dine Half Marathon weekend, and there's going to be a few different medals depending on what you're running. So the 5K medal, or they're all themed to meals. So there's a breakfast, a lunch, a dinner, and a dessert race or medal. And so they look really cute, the medals. The 5K medal is Mulan and like her the Happy Porridge. Remember that scene from the movie with the the smiley face bacon? That's gonna be the breakfast medal. That's for 5K. For 10K, that medal is Olaf with a picnic basket. That's gonna be lunch. And then the dinner medal is the 13.1, the half, right? And that's Lady and the Tramp. And then the 2-course challenge, 19.3 miles. Oh, no thank you. That's the Sleeping Beauty fairies with the cake for dessert. The medals make me wish I was a runner, right? Me too. Every time I see runDisney medals released, I'm like, I could do that. I want the medal enough, right? I could do that. And then, reality hits me. I realize that I'm very out of shape and, not going to spend the money on that. But if you do, that's awesome. I mean, we all have, as Disney fans, we all have our weakness on the things that we want to spend money on. Some people, it's pins. For my wife, it's Christmas ornaments. For some people, it's runDisney and these medals. So if you're doing that, let me know. That's crazy. But yeah, so that's runDisney, Wine and Dine. I was thinking about doing a podcast episode on the history of runDisney. Would you guys be interested in that? There's some really cool information about it, even not as a runner, but just the history of it is pretty cool. But anyways, the other thing for Disney World is they did a sneak peek of Starlight Dream the Night Away, the new parade coming to Walt Disney World, which I could not be more excited for. I'm gonna be in Walt Disney World in September for a few days. It's a big family trip. It's my two nieces' first time ever going to Walt Disney World. And they're still little, so it's going to be really cute. I'm excited to do that. And it'll be my first time going with my parents in like 10 years. So bringing my parents to Walt Disney World is going to be really great. I'm just really excited for it. But, of course, I'm personally excited, not just for the family stuff. That's cute and awesome. But Disney Starlight, Dream the Night Away, yes, please. So if you guys haven't seen on YouTube, there's an official Disney show called, we call it Imagineering. There's only been 4 episodes of it so far. And episode 4 just came out a few days ago. It was called On With the Show. And it was all about Disney Live Entertainment. And they had a whole segment focused on Disney Starlight. Hey, what's going on? Magic Mommy 11 has joined. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome to MiM Monday. And so on this, they were talking about Disney Starlight, and there's 2 things I want to talk about that made me extremely, extremely happy as a Disney fan. Number 1 is a brand new original character. If you know me, if you've seen you're listening to the podcast or seen any MiM Mondays, you know that I love original Disney characters. Of course, Figment, original to Walt Disney World. Orange Bird, original to Walt Disney World. So many wonderful, amazing characters, original to Walt Disney World. And we're getting a new one. So his name is Whimsy, and he's a train. So basically, this Whimsy train, he's a tribute to the Main Street Electrical Parade that had a train float as well, which I believe was based on Casey Jr. But on this one, the train, his name is Whimsy, and he has a super cute animated face, and it's so cute, guys. So, and I'm just curious, obviously his name is Whimsy because he's whimsical, but, he's an original character. So I'm guessing there's going to be some, focus, maybe not specifically on him, but he'll do some things that make him unique and original, not just a generic train. And I'm really excited for that. Merch. I want merch of Whimsy. I want a plush of Whimsy. I like plush. I think they're cute. I want a plush of Whimsy. I think it's so cute. My wife is saying that she wants a Christmas ornament of Whimsy. She collects Christmas ornaments. Just give us the Whimsy merch. You're introducing a new original character. We take it. We love it. Give us all the merch. The other thing was Jiminy Cricket. So at the very end, if you guys remember Spectrum Magic, that's when I was a kid at Magic Kingdom. We had this amazing parade, Spectrum Magic, and gorgeous white lights, so beautiful. But that parade ended with Jiminy Cricket, and they're gonna end this parade with Jiminy Cricket, and basically there's gonna be an animation of him, a screen, and he's going to be kind of taken in the starlight magic. And so if you watch this video, if you haven't watched it, go on YouTube after this and just watch. We call it Imagineering. And the way they animate Jiminy Cricket, where he's kind of moving with the magic, that's the whole theme of the parade, is the magic from the Blue Fairy, who leads the parade, which of course is another nod to Main Street Electrical Parade. Love it. But her magic kind of trails behind, and it's what's making the rest of the parade happen. And so it ends with Jiminy Cricket being kind of swept up and animated by the magic. And it just looks so good. It looks so good. So there's just, go watch that video. There's just so many cool sneak peeks, and it's just getting me really excited. Another thing I'm not going to spoil for myself, since I'm going back so soon in September to see this parade, that I know a lot of people are going to be watching it live broadcast on its opening night. I believe it's going to be on YouTube. I'm not going to watch it. I'm going to try to stay as spoiler free as possible so I can enjoy it for myself. And again, after I get back from that trip, we'll talk about it. But yeah, so let's end the show with let's end this MiM Monday show with some talk about the holidays at Walt Disney World. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the holidays at Walt Disney World because the next podcast episode is a Christmas in July episode, and my wife, who's Christmas obsessed, is going to be on the show with me, and we're going to be talking about all the Christmas stuff coming for you. So I'm just going to kind of preview it a little bit here with you today. See, Soaring Around says that she'd like to stay spoiler-free too, but is excited for the parade. Yeah, spoiler-free is the way to go. And it's, kind of going back earlier in the show, we were talking about the Walt Disney animatronic. I'm cool with seeing the pictures, but now I feel like my feed is oversaturated with all these videos of it, and I keep just scrolling past it because I don't want to see too much, So, and I know it's just hard being, not only a Disney fan, but an influencer and a podcaster and stuff. It's hard to stay away from that, and you want to talk about it, in the content, but it's so hard. Magic Mommy says that she's also, she's also a Christmas junkie. So yes, let's talk about Christmas. Like I said, yo daddy-o, Christmas, yeah, woo. So, like I said, whole Christmas episode coming soon to you guys. But let's talk about it. So they announced the dates for Very Merry and the new artwork for Very Merry. It's so cute. Is anybody going to Disney World for the holidays this year? Last year we went, and We went to Very Merry. We went to Jollywood Nights. We did the Christmas tree trail at Disney Springs. We did all of it. Jock Lindsay's Holiday Bar, everything. So we're not going to go this year because we're going in September, fall time and all that stuff. But if you're going, let me know this year. So Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. We got the dates. We got the details. So select dates in November and December. Ton of dates. And it's such a good time, guys. If you've never been to Very Merry Christmas Party, I highly recommend checking it out. It's very expensive, but it's so fun. Between seeing, the parade, which is one of my favorite Disney parades, the stage show. I mean, they sing the song from Muppets Christmas Carol, feels like Christmas, but you have like the Disney characters singing it on stage, and it's just, it warms your heart. Last year I remember just standing there with hot chocolate and a cookie and watching that stage show and hearing them sing Feels Like Christmas, standing next to my wife in front of the castle. Like, I'm going to get teary-eyed right now. It's the most emotional and special thing on the planet. Go to Very Merry Christmas Party. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. It's amazing. I if I can go back, I would, but going September and then again in November or December is too much. It's too much. Behind the scenes, I'm not an annual pass holder. So every time we go to the parks, it's a whole trip. I live in Texas. It's a whole thing to get out there. So, we're doing Disneyland, Disney World back-to-back this year. So I wish I was an annual pass holder, and it's the plane tickets, It's the plane tickets and the hotels that get us. But anyway, so that's Very Merry. The other thing, Jollywood Nights. Have any of you been to Jollywood Nights? Please let me know in the chat or in the comments if you've been to Jollywood Nights, because it is one of my favorite things ever. Hey, what's going on? XMDiz55. Welcome to MiM Monday. We're talking about holidays at Walt Disney World coming up. So Jollywood Nights, we got the dates for that. Select dates again in November and December. And I believe this is the third year that Jollywood Nights is going to be a thing. Like I said, we went last year. It's so fun. It's incredible. They have an ice skating show in front of the Chinese theater, which is spectacular. We have original music for that. The Tip Top, yes, exactly. Soaring around the world. Want to do Jollywood Nights, especially the Tip Top stuff. The Tip Top stuff at Jollywood Nights, guys, I will tell you, is one of my favorite things I've ever done at Hollywood Studios. I'm a big fan of Tower of Terror and that whole theming, that whole old Hollywood theming, and to see this live band outside of Tower of Terror and to drink, sparkling drinks out of champagne flutes and, essentially swing dance and stuff in front of Tower of Terror. It's so good. It's one of the most highly themed areas of Jollywood Nights, and I just love it. So we rode Tower of Terror. Of course, during the parties, everything's basically a walk-on. Even Rise of the Resistance was a walk-on. There was no queue at all. We walked onto it. But we walked on the Tower of Terror, and then we came out of Tower of Terror right into where the band was performing, and then we got a drink, and it was just, the whole sequence of events was perfect, flawless. The other thing they have at Jollywood Nights, of course, is the stage show in the Beauty and the Beast theater with Kermit and Mickey, and it's so good. It feels like old school MGM Studios, and I'm here for that. I love classic MGM Studios. That's what I grew up with. I'm a 90s kid, so old school Hollywood Studios is my jam. MGM Studios. In my living room, we have so much classic MGM stuff. We have a recreation of the MGM Studios sign, and we have a replica of the Great Movie Ride sign. I love classic Hollywood Studios. Tower of Taylor. It's funny, we were just talking about Tower of Terror. We're talking about Jollywood Nights. Thanks for joining. We're talking about Jollywood Nights and the Tip Top Club over by the Tower of Terror. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever been there? Let me know. It's so good. But looking at the poster for Jollywood Nights for this year's Jollywood Nights, they they have Stitch there. They have they have Kermit and Here's a bigger one. They have Duffy. Are you guys Duffy fans? I know Duffy is really big in foreign parks. But Duffy is in Disneyland right now for the Celebrate Happy Cavalcade. And I'm just so excited. So last year, Duffy was meeting in a Santa outfit. And that was probably the longest line for anything at Jollywood Nights. So I didn't get to do it. But I love Duffy. So cute. And then, of course, the original character. I just went on and on and on about how much I love original characters. But Ollie. Ollie is a little gingerbread man with like a yellow bow tie and a cute little, hair, little tussle of hair. But it's like cream, or I guess whipped cream or something. I don't know. He's so cute. And the fact that they don't have an Ollie meet and greet at Jollywood Nights is crushing me. And my wife said if they announce an Ollie meet and greet for Jollywood Nights this year, that we're gonna have to go. So I want them to announce that, but my wallet doesn't want that. So but we can meet Ollie. Are there any Ollie fans in the house? Let me know. I love Ollie. So, again, I'm not going to talk into a lot of detail about holidays at Disney World, because like I said, the very next episode, I think we're recording tomorrow, the very next episode of Mickey in Minutes is Christmas in July. We're going to talk about all of this. Oh my goodness, I am scrolling on Disney Parks blog right now, and I just saw the Jollywood Nights Spirit jersey for 2025, and it has Ollie on the back, just nice and big. I can't buy everything. I bought the Ollie t-shirt last year, and it's so good. I'll probably wear that during the recording tomorrow, so you'll see that eventually. But anyways, yeah, that's it. That's how we'll end the show. We'll end the show just talking about how good Jollywood Nights is. It's fitting. So, anyways, yeah, that's our show today, guys. So we talked about the Walt animatronic. It looks cool. I'm excited to see it in person, and I'll be there in 16 days, and I will let you know my thoughts on it. We talked about all the exhibits that are coming to the Main Street Opera House. So much good stuff. We talked about Wine and Dine Half Marathon and holidays at Walt Disney World. So this was a great episode. Thank you so much for joining this Mickey in Minutes Live. This is MiM Monday. We do this every single Monday at 8 p.m. Central Time. So please join us again. Or if you're watching this as a playback on YouTube, on Instagram, join us next week. MiM Monday, every Monday, 8 p.m. Central Time. And I love you guys in the chat. Thank you for sounding off and making this a conversation. That's what I want to do, That's my favorite thing about Mickey Minutes. This is a community, Mickey Minutes is not just me. It's all of us. It's all of us. And I love sharing and talking about Disney with you guys. If you don't already listen to the podcast, please check that out. We put out about 2 podcasts a month on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, really. And, that's a great way to support the show as well. So, subscribe and listen and check it out. Yoho Daddy-O, you are welcome. Renee, yes, you're welcome as well. This has been so fun. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. And, thanks for helping make Monday magical. Yeah, I will see you guys next Monday. And thanks again for hanging out. I love you guys. You guys are awesome. I'll see you next time. Bye. Hey, and welcome to